So are you one of those golfers who constantly struggles with your swing path? Now, if you are, you might be like 90% of golfers who have that big out to in swing, who gets that slice, that weak shot out to the right, but just occasionally gets that horrible pull. Well, I'm going to show you golfers first how we're going to fix your out to in path. But for you other golfers who get a little bit too far on the inside, who get those blocks and hooks, well, I've got you covered as well. So keep watching today's video right till the end, and I'm going to teach you how to move your weight and pressure in the ground better to fix your path and get you hitting some of the straightest shots you've ever hit. So I think most golfers understand that once they can strike the ball solidly, it's really important that we can get decent accuracy on our shots. And the two key things that influence where the ball goes is where that club face points at impact and the path the club's traveling on. Now, I've done a lot of videos on club face, and club face is really important. But today's video, because I get asked about this most, is going to be the path the club moves on. Now, the first thing I would say is that video doesn't actually show path, because path is very influenced by low point. And comment below if you'd like a video on that, because that can be a real eye-opener for a lot of golfers. But what I'm going to talk about is the direction you see the club moving through the bottom of the golf swing. So it can either be to the right from the inside, it could be left, which would be out to in, or for what a lot of golfers try for, which is pretty straight through the middle. But how we influence that is massively dictated by how we move our weight in our feet, particularly in our downswing. So what I'm looking at is when we set up to the golf ball, most golfers will know how to get the golf club to the top. Now, all the best players in the world move in a very, very similar way. So they start initially by moving laterally towards the target, and we see how that gets the club to shallow and drop down behind us. Then they start to twist, which gets the club out in front, and then as they push into the ground, that stops them digging the club into the ground and creates power. But all three create that speed as well. So let's start with the slicer of the golf ball. Now, what we will predominantly see with them is they'll set up to the golf ball, they'll swing to the top, and their first movement will be all twist. So they're turning the hips, they're turning the shoulders and the body. And we see the club gets thrown out in front, and then the club works across the golf ball. And then it ultimately depends what you do with the club face as to what shape you get. So a typical movement for a slicer of the golf ball, usually off balance as well. You can see that horrible curvy one over to the right. And even though I had lots of club head speed, club path was 9 degrees out to in, club face was 10 degrees open, 126 carry. What confuses a lot of golfers is occasionally then they'll make a very similar swing and they'll hit that one that actually goes a long way. So we can see there, the path was still massively out to in at nearly 11 degrees, but actually I managed to close the club face and the carry jumps up to 153 yards, even though it's way offline. But like I said, most golfers will come to me and they're obsessed because they've seen this over-the-top movement. So the first thing they need to do is they need to work on having more side-to-side or lateral movement in their downswing. Now, I think a great player to see this with is Scotty Scheffler. So he works up to the top really nicely, really moves his lower body a long way towards the target. And even though he actually steepens a little bit in the downswing, he really drives hard towards the target. So what I want you to feel is you're going to get to the top of your backswing. You're going to feel that the upper body stays very still, but you're going to try and move those hips towards the target. And you can see down the line as I do that, that club is dropping down, not getting thrown out and across. Now, I would always suggest that you do these a little bit slower to begin with. So you have a couple of practice swings and then swing down. And then hit a shot with that same feel. And we see there, even though my club head speed's way down, my path's actually 1.9 degrees from the inside. Club face was 2 degrees closed and carry was 135 yards. Now today's video is actually sponsored by Victory insoles. Now I've been wearing these for probably getting on 2 years now. Paul Drake Harrington wears these, a lot of guys, a lot of girls on the tours are wearing them. Basically carbon fibre insoles that help you transfer energy from when you're pushing into the ground, getting the energy back up into the body to help you create more speed. And certainly when you're working on something like we are today, where it's about ground force reactions, this can be a huge benefit. So if you are interested, click the link that I'll put on there. In the description below as well, there's a link with my discount code on there. Check those out. Not necessarily game changing, but certainly every little percentage increase you can make makes a big change overall. So we could see there that feel of upper body staying still and lower body driving towards the target. It was a huge change, kind of 11 degrees in path. So then it's, can we build that into with a little bit more speed? So there we see closer to the club head speed I'd normally be. Path now 2.8 degrees from the inside. Club face closed and 161. And a few of you might be thinking there, that's really interesting there, that not only has Ali changed the path, but also the face has changed. Now, I think it's amazing with golfers, when you see them kind of working this way, how the big left miss is a problem. So they tend to leave the club face more open, try and get to target. And then vice versa. As they start moving better, they might miss over to the right. It's amazing how the body suddenly works out and the brain works out how to close that club face a little bit. But remember, if you are somebody who is out to win, over the top, whatever phrase you want to use, you want to get more lateral movement to shallow the club and start delivering the club, if not from the inside, certainly much straighter than you have been. Now, obviously that's probably the majority of golfers out there. Now, I probably fall, or used to fall, into that 10% of golfers who actually got the club too much from the inside. Now, definitely for me, I think as a kid, I was told very much about getting there and really driving hard towards the target. So I think this is something I did. I tended to really extend a lot as well, which really got the club dropping down. And this is something I see with a lot of guys who've got too much lateral. As they drive towards the target, they also get the hips going towards the target. You see the club drops down, you stand up, and even if you strike it with the blocks, hooks and draws, also quite tough to get some good contact on the ball. So for the slice of the golf ball, I want you to feel that you get to the top. Even though you're still going to move a little bit towards the target, you're going to feel that you turn early. Really turn early. Feel like that club's going to go out in front. But interestingly, watch my hip line. The hips stay back. It gives me room to swing my hands and arms into. So it's definitely more of a turn in the downswing. So from there, feels very, very left for me. So we've taken some speed out. Again, we would just hit a shot. Taking my speed out, so we can see there, 6.6 out to in, club face 6 degrees open, 136 total. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're a slicer with a golf ball, you would hate seeing that. But if you're somebody who has hit blocks and hooks your whole golfing life, that will be a very, very interesting shot because it feels like you've taken left out of play. So then again, I would just do some practice swings, build a bit more speed in, feel that there's more turn in the downswing. There we go, there's my normal club head speed. Wasn't out the middle of the club perfectly, but 2.5 degrees out to in, club face 2 degrees open, 155 carry. Now, for me personally, I love that shot. I love that feel, particularly with my irons, and it's definitely changed the way I kind of see my ball flight. I don't really see the big swingy draw anymore, especially with driver for me. I definitely like seeing that little fade. Now, obviously, if you wanted to try and zero things out, it's hard, and I would never suggest that you chase zero, but you could feel then a little bit more movement towards the target, twist a little bit earlier in the downswing, And let's see if I can find dead straight. So it's not 0-0 and it wasn't flush, but it's a very, very accurate golf shot and certainly one that I could aim at target and not miss wide. So remember, like I said, if you are one of those golfers who struggles with path, if you're out to win, you need more lateral in your golf swing. If you're somebody who shallows the club too much, you need more twist. But if you can unlock those movements, use the ground better, and if you want that added little bonus of a bit more speed, that link's down there for the Victory Golf insoles. Like I said, I've been wearing them for 2 years. Definitely worth checking out. But if you can deliver that path better and learn how to control that face, you just might start hitting some of the straightest golf shots of your life.